Hello and welcome to the Finance 360. Joining me today is Adam Smart. Adam, we have a lot of questions around AppsFlyer, the recent data, analytics, everything. Starting with, the recent AppsFlyer data has shown a 700% increase in finance app adoption in the UAE between 2001 and 2024. What do you think are the key drivers behind this growth, and how does it compare with the other global trends?
I think it's an interesting one, and it's a massive number, and it's very exciting. But I think what needs to be said is it's gone from being very early days, and the momentum has grown over time. So we've started to see it grow. The industry, from the finance industry, is getting much bigger in Dubai as it is, and the apps are showing success as a consequence of that. So there's, once there is success in an industry, it starts to generate more and more and more.
The report highlights a 46% rise in paying users on Android, with iOS maintaining high-value users. How are finance apps balancing monetization with user experience to sustain this growth?
Again, I think going back, we've had Apple implement Scan a little while ago, which caused an impact and visibility issues across the board for anything on iOS. Those users have remained the same, so the visibility's got worse, but the users are monetizing as good as they always have done. It's just very difficult to see that. So some of the budgets have moved over to Android at the time of Scan. Now a lot of the larger networks, your Facebooks, your Googles, they're starting to shift more towards a probabilistic form of matching, which means they're able to identify the users much better and target in a much better way. So you're starting to see that kind of level out almost, and it coming back to how it was pre-Scan, pre the time frame that you've said about. So that's where a lot of the growth is now coming from. We're starting to see that, and again, like you mentioned with iOS, they are the users monetize better. Generally they're a much higher end device across the board, whereas Android has premium models, but it also has the more economical models. So again, you're looking at the different types of users.
How are finance apps balancing monetization with user experience to sustain this growth?
I think it's funny. I've actually been talking today to a lot of companies that are now looking to bring more gamification into finance apps to be able to retain users a lot more, and that's where a lot of this comes down to now, is bringing users back into the app. So it's all very well sort of spending a lot on user acquisition to acquire the users in the first place, but if you have a leaky bucket where those users aren't coming back into the game, you essentially throwing money away. So being able to work out how you can bring those users back into the app again and again and again, and give them motivations for being able to, if it's a finance app with savings, for instance, giving them the option to be able to have some form of VIP program where if they save a certain amount, they get certain returns for the investment. Showing those kind of returns, I think, is a very useful way of being able to get people back into the app and back in the ecosystem.
While overall app sessions declined across categories, finance apps maintained strong engagement. Any specific factors that are contributing to the resilience in daily user routines? And also, what lessons can other app sectors learn from this?
I think finance is something that is used by everybody on a regular basis. You take travel apps, you use them when you want to book a holiday. You take dating apps, you use them when you want to start dating or continue dating. I think with finance, it's something that's there. It's something that is needed to be used on a daily basis. For other apps, in order to be able to capture that, it's really looking at how you can make your app applicable more often to a user, which is obviously that's a very difficult thing, and it's something that is lots of people are looking into at the moment to try and mimic these kind of things. Even on the gaming side, sort of being able to bring the gamification into some of these other industries in order to keep people coming back into the games, into the apps, is something that is being looked at the moment.
The UAE is setting a regional standard for profitability, loyalty, and ecosystem integration. How can other Middle Eastern markets replicate this success? What role does data-driven marketing play today?
I think that the performance marketing as a whole is needed in order to be able to see what is performing. So when you're running across multiple different networks, different campaigns, you want to know what is working. Now, the Middle East has managed to really understand that and work with that, and that's fantastic, and it's doing incredibly well. But that's something other areas need to learn from. And I think the more they can understand performance marketing in particular, the more understanding and growth there will be as a consequence.
Lastly, Adam, as finance apps enter a new phase of growth, how should fintech marketers balance acquisition efficiency with long-term value creation, particularly in a very highly competitive and a regulated market like the UAE?
Yeah, I think it becomes a lot more about understanding the users that you've acquired and how you can work with those users in order to monetize, essentially. I mean, that's the end result. So really being able to segment the users that you bring in and understand their needs and wants, I think you're then able to create something that is able to, that they want to be involved in. So it becomes less about the sort of cost per install, and you're actually just you're looking at the users that you're actually acquiring in the first place. And then talking about the regulation side of things, I don't think regulation is a blocker. I think it's an excuse to be able to bring in quality users of your application, which I think that actually enables more than anything.
That's all with Adam Smart with the Finance 360. Thanks for watching.